This is WVLT News.
We got a choir running for president.
Now, that's not the only controversial comment our cameras captured coming from a Sevier County commissioner last night. We're going to get to more explosive comments and moments that you'll only see here on WVLT News. But first, thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Amanda Hara. Ted Hall is off. Hashtags calling for a boycott of Sevier County are trending on Twitter. But can Warren Hurst's homophobic comments keep people away from our beautiful Smokies? Justin McDuffie joining us live from Pigeon Forge tonight. Justin, plenty of city and county leaders have stepped forward tonight, really trying to distance themselves from the commissioner's comments. Is anyone showing any real concern about this?
Yeah, Amanda, Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge, and Sevierville all coming out against those statements from that commissioner last night. Now, since that meeting, a hashtag boycott Sevier County has been trending on social media. But I talked to plenty of visitors here tonight, none really wanting to go on camera, but they said nothing could really keep them from visiting the place that they love, the Smoky Mountains. Plenty of stuff to do here for them, and they love coming back time and time again. Now, the Pigeon Forge tourism director says that they're not too worried that these one man's comments will hurt their tourism industry.
It's our job to reassure people that they're going to be safe when they visit here. And as I mentioned earlier in my comments, any season of the year, 80% of the people who come here are repeat guests, and they would not be coming here if they were not being well treated. Many of these people come as many as 9 or 10 times a year.
Yeah, 9 or 10 times a year. Shocking number, but many of us know that number probably not a surprise to some. Now, Pigeon Forge says that they plan to keep putting that message out there that all are welcome here throughout the year, anytime. Amanda?
All right, Justin McDuffie. We should also note Dollywood among the list of businesses and county officials to step forward today and condemn the commissioner's comments. Justin McDuffie reporting for us tonight. We want to hear from you on this. Do you think that the comments will hurt tourism in Sevier County? You can open the WVLT app right now. Some of the results already coming in. 32% of you saying yes, you do think that this could hurt tourism. 68% of you saying no. We're going to continue to follow this poll. We'll bring you results throughout the newscast. Now, there is more to that exclusive video that we captured at last night's commission meeting. Commissioner Hurst also calls certain Democrats thugs.
We're being run by thugs from these other countries. We've got to run for president in the Democratic primary today. We've got thugs. We just got rid of one running as president, one president like that. Folks,
well, the head of Sevier County Democrats was at the meeting last night and ended up walking out of that meeting. Our Robert Grant spent time with her today. And Robert, surprisingly, Sarah Thompson, she doesn't want a resignation. She simply wants an apology.
Exactly that, Amanda. Sarah Thompson says it was painful to hear the commissioner's comments, but tonight she's only asking for an apology.
If there are currently laws that the petitioners find fault with.
A gun proposal brought Sarah Thompson to Monday night's county commission meeting. She spoke out against the proposal, then heard something she never expected.
we got a choir running for president.
Commissioner Warren Hurst's comments drove her away.
I was actually incensed. I think that was a very demeaning and nasty thing to even talk about. So I stood up and said, "Excuse me, this is unprofessional."
Thompson is the chair of the Sevier County Democrats. She says Hurst's comments should serve as a reminder to all commissioners.
They're elected to represent everyone in Sevier County, even those who don't love, look, or vote like they do.
We could go over here in House's jail and get better people out of it.
Some of Hurst's comments were met with applause and some laughter at the Monday night meeting.
Well, it's painful to hear, but at the same time, I've become so used to it in this county.
The Tennessee Equality Project is calling on Hurst to resign, but Thompson doesn't think that's necessary.
I think an apology is in order, not just to me, but to every person in this county that doesn't share his viewpoints that he demeaned. Other than that, it's up to the county commission to censor their own.
Now, we have reached out to all county commissioners. So far, only heard back from one. Commissioner Greg Haggard says that Hurst's comments don't reflect all of county commission. And we have reached out also to Hurst again tonight to see if his comments have changed or if he has any more to say about what he has said last night. And we have not been able to reach out to him just yet. Amanda, he has not gone back to us.
Yeah, Robert, last night he basically told us after this meeting, he said, I still stand by my comments. He told our Kyle Granger that he was then going to be going out of town. We've tried repeatedly today to get in touch with him to see if his stance has changed at all now that people are calling for his resignation. Of course, none of our repeated phone calls have been returned, but this is a part of the story that we will continue to watch and stay on top of. Robert Grant reporting for us tonight in Sevier County. Robert, thanks. We do want to get back to that poll. We want to hear your take on this. Do you think the commissioner's comments will hurt tourism in Sevier County? You can open the WVLT News app right now to vote. We're going to watch the results throughout the show. The latest showing 30% of you now think that those comments could hurt tourism in Sevier County. 70% of you now say no. Let's switch gears and get over to Austin Bowling. He's watching the weather situation for us as we get closer to the weekend. A lot of folks already planning for their days off.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about some rain showers that start inching their way back into the picture here later on into the week, more so heading into the weekend. Right now, in the wake of the rainfall we started the day with, cooler air starting to settle in. We're checking in at 50 degrees in Knoxville, one better in Oak Ridge, 49 now over in Sevier County. It's 47 in Newport, down to 45 in Washburn. So overnight tonight, we do expect to see lows dropping down into the lower 40s here across the valley. A chilly start out there, but a little bit of light frost possible up in the plateau once again. So if you do have those fragile plants that can't handle that kind of cold, you want to make sure you bring those in here quickly while you still have the chance. 35 tonight in Crossville, 34 in Jamestown, and expecting some temperatures quite chilly up in that higher elevation by the time we get into Wednesday afternoon. Plenty of sunshine, temperatures still on the cooler side here, right around 65 degrees in the Knoxville area. Same thing in Kingston. You're going to be a little bit milder down towards the south, right around 67 for the folks down in Athens. A little bit cooler, though, up along the plateau where you'll probably want to keep that jacket handy. I think most of you, if you're cold-natured, you probably want that jacket handy just in case, even with the sunshine. So another afternoon filled with plenty of 60s out there, but we are dry. For Wednesday and Thursday, we start seeing some spotty rain shower chances returning by the time we get into Friday and Saturday. That might be just in time for game time between South Carolina and Tennessee as well. We'll keep our eyes on that, but we are going to talk about how much rain we could expect heading into the back half of the weekend. Coming up here in just a few more minutes, Amanda.
All right. We have breaking news now from Alabama. Birmingham police say they believe they've found the body of 3-year-old Camille Cupcake McKinney. They believe they found her body in a landfill. She had been missing for 10 days. After she was playing outside at a birthday party, police say 2 men are now in custody connected to this crime. And a scathing letter from the Knox County Sheriff to the Knoxville News Sentinel criticizing an editorial cartoon. This cartoon appeared in Sunday's edition of the Knoxville News Sentinel. It shows a couple discussing police violence, implying that they could be shot whether they're in their home or not. Sheriff Tom Spangler released a letter in response to this, calling the cartoon wildly inappropriate. We spoke with him exclusively this afternoon.
I wanted them to know that I was very disgusted with them putting that in the paper. I didn't think it was right. I didn't think it's fair to portray our officers and any other officer that way.
Well, the sheriff says a cartoon sends the wrong message, teaching people to be afraid of officers who he says are here to protect the community. A Middle Tennessee nurse is heading to trial accused of making a mistake and killing a patient in the process. The case is now on the radar of doctors and nurses nationwide. Nick Barris has the story tonight from Nashville.
This case is a tone setter. That's why it's important. This could set the tone for more criminal prosecutions for medical mistakes.
Former Vanderbilt nurse Redonda Vaught has pleaded not guilty. 2 years ago, prosecutors say Vaught meant to give a patient a sedative, but instead administered another drug that paralyzed and killed 75-year-old Charlene Murphy. Vaught's accused of ignoring several safeguards, including failing to read the name on the vial, which led to the wrong drug being given.
She knowingly overrode a safety protocol is the allegation. So she consciously accepted a risk, assume that risk, knowing that it could harm or kill somebody.
Clint Kelly is a well-known local malpractice attorney, not involved in this case, but familiar with the details. In his mind, this is clearly civil medical malpractice.
That's clear. The question is it criminal behavior as well?
The Davidson County District Attorney believes so. Vaught is charged with reckless homicide. At a hearing last week, the case, to the surprise of many, was set for trial. Kelly believes the sides are too far apart for any talk of a plea deal.
One side believing I'm helping people and I simply made a mistake, even if it is reckless, versus the other side saying you were reckless and because of that you killed somebody.
Well, the DA there is still working on the case, which is set to go to trial next July. TDOT says they're almost done changing those speed limit signs on I-40 and 640. The speed limit in many areas is being raised.
And what we're trying to do is get those speed limits to be accurate compared to the way the traffic is moving in these areas. So we found that the speed limits were actually too low.
Well, the new speed limit in most spots is 65 miles an hour. I did ask Mark Nagy, who we just heard from with TDOT. I asked him today, is there any chance that we could see those speed limits go even higher in the future? He says at this point, doesn't look like it. Well, coming up tonight, still an old ambulance has a new mission. Plus, guess who is not playing in Saturday's game? One of South Carolina's best players will not see action against Tennessee this weekend. We'll talk about that up next.
And temperatures on the cooler side, a little frosty up along the plateau into the 30s and 40s, but filled with sunshine tomorrow. We'll talk about when the rain comes back up next.
A fundraiser so big in Knoxville, it needed a red carpet for its Hollywood celebrity. Take a look at this. Dennis Quaid showed off his brand new movie, Midway, at the Regal Pinnacle in Turkey Creek tonight. The movie premiere, also a fundraiser for Variety Children's Charity of East Tennessee, which helps children with disabilities throughout the area. Quaid says he's been all over Tennessee, but is glad that he finally got the chance to come here to Knoxville.
The people here is what make it, right? And everybody here is really fantastic tonight. I can really feel a lot of love in the room. And so, what I like about most of the country is that people take care of each other. You have a real feeling of community here. That's great.
Yeah, indeed we do. Premieres like this one have helped raise more than $10 million for Variety over the years. The movie Midway, by the way, hits theaters on November 8th. Austin Bowling joining us to talk about the weather, and I see some rain action behind you. And I think this is one of those times that nobody's really complaining about the rain that we had today.
No, and I hope too many people aren't really perturbed by those chances that we picked up here. Again, we still need a lot more than what we've already picked up over the past couple of days here. And we will get another chance coming up here this weekend. The good news about this batch, it will be reflected in the drought monitor that comes out this coming Thursday morning. So hopefully a good chunk of the area will start to be trimmed down at least a category. This is not going to remove all drought, but it is going to get us headed in the right direction. Average this month here in Knoxville is about 1 2/3 inches. So far this month, just a little over 1 inch. So we're about 1/2 inch off the pace and still could stand to see quite a bit more. Notice rainfall totals just today. We did see some heavier rain across parts of Fentress and Cumberland counties late last night back into Monday. So we did see over about 1.25 inches actually, and then you add on that additional quarter, so about 1.5 inches, almost 2 inches in Crossville. Rockwood, Lansing, also over 1 inch. Jacksboro, the same thing, 1/2 inch in Union County, averaging to be about 1/2 inch in downtown Knoxville. Around 1/3 inch in Sevierville, and not as fortunate up towards the northeast, only around 2/10 inch up towards Rogersville. The front responsible for those rain showers now working its way off the coast, or at least the east coast, funneling in behind it drier air. Dew point values in the 30s and 40s when we have clear skies, light winds. Temperatures have a tendency of falling towards the dew points. So a chilly start coming up here on Wednesday morning. Heading out to the bus stop, kids prepare, need a jacket, at least a heavier jacket here in Knoxville, around 42 degrees. But there will be some areas up along the plateau that expect to see lows down into the mid-30s first thing up along the plateau. So keep that in mind, a chilly start first thing tomorrow. Your forecast where you live, rebounding nicely, but still some of you probably want that light jacket just in case. Plenty of sunshine. The wind relaxes. It will be a nice afternoon. 66 in Madisonville. Same thing in Sweetwater. 67 in Athens and Etowah. 62 for you in Crossville and Oneida. 63 Wartburg and in Williamsburg. Same thing up on Jellicoe. 64 up in Union County, and then out towards the east, temperatures here into the mid-60s. So get down into the weeds of the forecast. What we're expecting, we're looking at two different models, and they're not agreeing. This is the American model, the GFS, and looking towards Friday, it shows a bit of a dip in the jet stream that's progressive, moves through fairly quickly, and that gives us rain chances Friday into Saturday. Where things differ, this is the European model now, and notice at the same time frame, it develops a cutoff low that is much slower to get here. It slows up into parts of Oklahoma and Texas and delays its arrival until about Saturday afternoon and evening with its better rainfall chances. So right now the models not really coming into agreement, so your forecast towards the end of the week, into the weekend, will likely change as these models start to converge or head one way or the other. So you'll want to check in with Chief Meteorologist Heather Haley in the morning to get the latest information on your weekend forecast. Mid-60s though on Wednesday, 70 on Thursday. More clouds and late showers right now for Friday. Mid-60s, isolated showers. You might want the poncho handy just in case for UT against South Carolina. Better chances, I believe, coming in Sunday into Monday of next week with highs hovering around 70. Amanda.
All right, I don't know what that 39 is all about, Austin.
A little cold.
Just ignore that one. Thanks. An old ambulance is getting a new mission. Claude Melcher spent $1,200 of his own money to buy the fixer-upper. At one time, the ambulance rushed to emergencies. Now it's going to respond to a crisis of a different kind.
This will be to help the homeless, to serve like kettles with soup in there on a cold night.
Yeah, Claude knows more about homelessness than most. He was a Baltimore police officer, and years ago, Claude lived out of his car after falling on hard times. Well, a Georgia driver is alive, but take a look at the crash. We actually first reported this a couple weeks ago. Take a look at this now. Authorities say the driver rear-ended a log truck, yet only suffered minor injuries. The Whitfield County Fire Department shared these images on their Facebook page. Firefighters say they had to cut through 30 to 40 logs with chainsaws before they could even start to cut open the car and rescue the driver. We're coming right back with sports.
Welcome back, everybody. You know, it's not been just weeks or months. It's been really years. We've talked about Tennessee's offensive line and how much help they needed in that position group. But dare I say, game by game, it appears that unit might be coming together, getting better. And evidence of that came on Saturday in a play that won't look like anything special on the box score. It was about a 10-yard pickup in the middle of the second quarter Saturday against Alabama. But it's about how it happened. Tim Jordan took the handoff and was stuffed pretty quickly, but the offensive line jumped in to help, and they pushed him another 7 or 8 yards.
After the play, just coming back, looking at the linemen and looking at the excitement on their face, I knew it was a play that they really brought confidence to them.
I watched it a couple times. It was a dope play for us because that's something we've been trying to do for a long time. So we're enforcing our will like that. But as part of the culture change we got to have around here, and it starts from top bottom, from Coach Pruitt, Coach Chaney, Coach Friend, Coach Clemens. They all teach that and they preach it to us every day. And just seeing us do it at one time, it was a great moment.
All right, well, just a few days before Tennessee's matchup with South Carolina, we found out today that the Gamecocks' top running back, Rico Dowdle, will likely miss the game with a sprained knee. He was injured on the first play against Florida this past weekend. Well, Tennessee and South Carolina set to kick off at 4 p.m. this Saturday. The Gamecocks a 4-point favorite. That is the slimmest spread, though, for Tennessee in over a month since they played Chattanooga. We'll be there for all the coverage. Well, you've heard of Friday Night Lights, right? Well, what about Tuesday Night Lights? It's basically the same thing, but a lot more special. It was tonight at Halls High School. Each year the school brings out the student section, cheerleaders, the football team, and lots of fans for what they call Tuesday Night Lights. It's where students in the CDAC class at the school, students with certain disabilities, they get to play football under the lights.
Touchdowns, 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
But these kids really love it. It's just as real to them as anything that you and I would ever experience, and they have a great time.
The biggest smile the whole time, throwing the ball on the ground, everyone huddling around them, cheering them on, shouting their name, just loving on them, and that's what I love.
Good stuff, man. This is video of Spencer scoring one of his 2 touchdowns in the game tonight. It's the 3rd year they've put on that event. Well, a quick note in high school football. Carter football coach Scott Meadows will be allowed to coach this Friday night against Gibbs. This comes after the TSSAA granted his appeal. Meadows was ejected late in the game this past Friday night in Carter's game against Central. He told us in a quick statement, he said he's just glad it's behind him and the team.
Check out what Lacey King found in Morgan County yesterday. She shared this with me on on my Facebook page, and she said, "Look at the picture, zoom in on the head, tell me what this is." TWRA got back with me this morning. They say it's probably a slender glass lizard, which is basically, as you know, Austin, a lizard with no legs, apparently pretty rare for our area. I said, well, what's the deal with the tail? Because that doesn't look right. And they said, well, it either got run over by a car. What's your theory?
Well, there's three things that make this different from a snake. It could blink. It has eyelids. It has ear holes on its neck. And when it tries to slither away from something like any other lizard would, it can drop its tail. So a lot of these glass lizards, you could tell there, don't have perfect tails. And they eventually will grow it back like any lizard does. A snake can't do quite the same thing. So those are the three differences. It can blink, it has ears, and it drops its tail.
I just think some things should stay in the woods. You know what I mean? Like this.
It should have stayed rare, right?
I can't believe that Lacey got that close to even take a picture. I would have been like, I need a zoom lens to get a picture of that.
Still a great shot, though.
You're the expert on all things lizards. Reptiles, exactly. All right, you're also an expert on the weather, and a lot of people care about that as well.
We'll get down into the mid-30s tonight for the plateau, near 40 here in the valley. Mid-60s for Wednesday, 70 on Thursday, and then we're watching for the potential of rain showers coming back in just in time.
Do you wish you saw that lizard?
I did. I wish I saw that. I'm going to be looking.
That would have been your dream come true. Have a great night. We'll see you back here tomorrow.